What's going on, everybody? Dave here from Profitable.Tools. In this video, we're going to be looking at a new and exciting way to add quizzes and surveys to your website. And I do mean any website, so don't be scared off by the word WordPress. Stay tuned and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Some of the internet's most successful entrepreneurs have been using online quizzes and surveys for as long as I can remember to help grow their email list. This is one from Ramit Sethi, helping you learn how you can increase your earning ability. It's been on his homepage for almost a decade now, maybe even more than a decade, and it's never changed at all. It's always looked exactly the same as far as I can tell, so it must be doing quite well for him. At the end of the quiz, you get this little opt-in gate where you need to give him your name and email address, and by doing so, you'll get signed up for his email list where he can sell you more products and services. But the catch is, I don't get to see my quiz results until I fill out this box. So this is great for conversions. Once I hit submit here, I will be taken to a results page where I can see Ramit's specific advice based on my answers. This will change depending on the answers that I gave, and I can tell because the recommendations fit the answers that I actually provided. Online quizzes and surveys can be beneficial to just about any industry, whether you're doing e-commerce or digital products, online courses, and things like that. This is a really popular book called The Ask Method. They actually have an online course as well. And you can see on their homepage, they have a big button here to start taking one of their quizzes. They're using the same practice that they preach in order to generate more leads for their business. Now, there are no shortage of tools out there for online quizzes and surveys, but there are very few that are really high quality and also WordPress plugins. Now, I tend to prefer WordPress plugins. We run a WordPress agency. I like to keep the data on our client server or on our own servers. It helps for privacy. I know that everything is protected and efficient the way that I've set things up. But if you prefer a software as a service, this could actually, the tool I'm about to show you in this video can kind of perform as a software as a service as well. And I'll show you what I mean as we go. Just know that this is a WordPress plugin, but you can still use it on something like a Shopify site if you want. Now, credit where credit is due. I found out about this plugin from Chris Lima, who blogs every single day about WordPress on chrislima.com. Chris is a legend in WordPress territory, so go check out his blog if you haven't already. He's always got cool and insightful things to say. Now, as he mentioned here in the first section, why can't I just use a form builder? Well, you can, but it's just kind of the opposite of the Alton Brown ethic, where you don't really want a multitasker for your website. You want the best tools to accomplish specific jobs. That's my point of view anyway. You certainly could use a form builder, but it's just a lot cleaner and a lot smarter to use a tool designed for the specific job of a quiz or a survey. Why don't we just go through the different parts of the actual plugin and I can show you the front end of a quiz. You can decide if it's a good fit for your business. So this is a quiz that was designed with Smart Quiz Builder. Each quiz starts off with a front page. You can either have it be a landing page like we're seeing right here, or you can simply have a button that you can throw anywhere on your website. Now keep in mind, you can embed these quizzes into any website, right? It doesn't have to be WordPress. Of course, it's very easy to do in WordPress, but you can really put it anywhere. Wix, Squarespace, Shopify, you name it, you can use this plugin. So let's get started with this quiz. Here's the first question. As you can see, this is a multiple choice question and it's a scoring quiz, so it has a right answer. You can also do things like personality tests or assessments where you're not necessarily going to have a right or wrong answer. You're just gauging someone's interest so that maybe you can offer them a solution to their problems. If you're asking them how to help them lose weight, they can ask about their specific conditions, what they've tried before, and then give them recommendations at the end for what they can do to achieve some actual results. I really like that this progress bar shows up. We saw that on Ramit's survey as well. It helps with conversion rate quite a bit. You can toggle it off if you want, but I'd recommend leaving it on. This way I know, okay, I've just begun the quiz. I'm already 20% done. This quiz is not going to take up an hour of my time. It's going to be pretty quick. You can see that you can add images here. You can also include videos or GIFs, anything you want to make your quiz more engaging. Here's a true or false question. I'm going to go ahead and answer this false so we can see what a wrong answer looks like. All right, let's finish up this quiz. And here we go. Here's our opt-in gate, just like we saw Ramit use. In order to get my results, I'm going to have to fill out this form. Once I fill out my form, just like Ramit, I'm taken to a results page. Your quiz can have multiple results pages. So based on the answers that people give, you can score them and send them to a custom results page that actually helps out their situation. Now, I forgot to mention it when I was going through the actual quiz, but it also has conditional logic. So if you want to ask someone question 1, and then based on the answer that they give, maybe they get a different question 2, you can definitely do that. So if you ask someone how they found out about you and they choose other, you could send them to another question, and that could be, please specify exactly what the other is. Lots of good reasons to use conditional logic. I'm glad they provide it. You can see there's an option down here to retake the quiz if I want to. That's something you can toggle on and off. If you're doing an online course, maybe you don't want to allow people to retake the quiz, or maybe you want to have a set number of times that people can do that. You can set, say, a maximum of 2 retakes. And then finally down here, we can share our results on social. I think these look really, really good. So here is what the social sharing looks like. You can see that includes my score. I got 4 out of 5. That is actually pulling in the information from the results of my quiz. And it's got a nice image here that I can customize inside of the backend, where I can set my open graph image. Now, by sharing your actual results, it's going to increase the chance that people who see this post are going to want to take the same quiz as their friend. That way they can compete and it'll grow your business faster. You'll get more opt-ins. All right, so let's go through everything on the back end that we just saw on the front end. So here's Smart Quiz Builder. I've got it installed on a WordPress site. Again, you're going to need WordPress to use this, but that doesn't mean it has to be your main site. We can embed the quizzes anywhere we want. All right, let's go ahead and create a quiz here. I'll give the quiz a name, and I can choose one of the 4 quiz types: personality, assessment, scoring, and survey. My first critique of the plugin comes right here. I'd love to have some more information about what the differences are between the types of quizzes. A personality quiz versus assessment, that seems kind of similar. A scoring quiz, that makes sense to me, but then how is a survey different than an assessment? I'd love to have maybe a little written explanation over here to the side, or some way they can pop up some information about it. I can see that the tabs change at the top as I start to toggle through. So obviously there is some big differences, but I'm not sure what they are. Now, the developer has done a good job at providing documentation, but most of the documentation is in the form of videos. That's great, but sometimes you really just want to have a written explanation. What are the differences between the different quiz types? What types of questions are available in different quiz types? Even when I go over to their demo content here, it looks like some of it was just copy and pasted between the different quiz types. But if I wanted to really engage and try finding out what the differences are between different quiz types, I could do that. There's a demo quiz for each one. For this video, let's focus in on the scoring quiz, since that's what I showed you in the initial demonstration. So you can see here that I'm going to have some display settings, and then we have our start screen, which could just be a button or it could be a landing page. We'll have some questions. We'll have the lead generation page, which is that opt-in gate. And then finally, we have the outcome pages, where we can show different results based on what people replied. Finally, we'll get a shortcode that'll allow us to put this on any page on our website. All right, let's get started. Save and next. All right, we're going to skip over the display settings until the very end, because these are really options related to how we want our quiz to show up. So let's get started actually building our quiz. Let's go to the start page. This is what kicks off the entire quiz. People will need to want to click this when they see it. You can see right here, this is kind of that landing page option. If I don't want that, if you just want to use your actual website design and throw a button in that triggers the quiz, you can simply change the template down here with those triple dots and then just choose the button template. I think that's what most people are going to do most of the time. You can change the look of this button as well as anything else in the quiz. You can see I can make the button wider if I want. I can change the overall height. I can change the color. And if I toggle back to the other template, I'll be able to change the width and style of that as well. If you don't want the image, you can turn that off. Maybe you want to add a video, you can definitely do that as well. There's also some mobile responsive options, so you can see what it looks like on desktop as compared to mobile. So now here I can style the mobile site differently than the desktop site. So that's a start screen. Every quiz needs a start screen. Let's go to some questions. Got 2 options to add a new question here. I can either click this button or this button. It'll take you to the same place. I love how easy it is to get a good looking question. I'm basically set up to win here. You can see the different question types: single choice, multiple choice, yes, no, text, file upload, or slider. I chose the slider to see what that looks like. I can still have that image on with the slider. Again, very easy to customize the look of the slider. Let's go back to a multiple choice question. So I'll ask my question up here at the top, and then I can have my choices down here at the bottom. It's easy to add more than one answer. And as I'm typing in the answers, you see I get a full toolbar here where I can add images, media, anything I like. If I want people to answer questions with an image, I simply check this box right here, and then I can add an image for each answer. Now over here to the right, I choose which one is the right answer. So let's say there is a right answer because this is actually a scoring quiz. Maybe I'll choose this one as the right answer, or maybe I want to assign points for each question. So let's say I want to give you 1 point if you're 18 to 25, 2 points if you're 36 to 35, and 3 points if you're more than 36 years old. You also have the option to leave a message when someone gets something wrong or right, so that you can either teach them what they got wrong or congratulate them for providing the right answer. When you're done, you hit save this question. You can see I've got one question up here at the top. I'm ready to add another one. This time I'll do a text question. Again, I'll add my question up top, and then I can choose which image I want to display with my question, or I can hide it all together. Overall, this is a great user experience, but there are a few little glitches that I'm noticing along the way. So things like add an answer. Well, this is a text answer. Someone's supposed to fill in the blank here. I can't add a second one, so clicking it does nothing. I'd love to see this just hidden from the user interface. I saw the same thing with a slider, but didn't comment on it, so I can't add a second slider here. Same thing with the answer with an image box. When I check this and that's not a possibility, it should probably just be out of sight, so I don't have the opportunity to click it. All right, so now I've got two questions, question 1 and question 2. Next, let's take a look at adding a true or false question. Let's go ahead and add a question here. Again, question up top, I can choose a new image here. I'll drag in an image from my desktop, and there we go. Now I simply need to add in my question. So this is gonna be a yes or no question, and I'll just change the text yes to true and no to false. We do have a layout for how we want to display the answers here. So I could do it in a side-by-side format, or I could do it in a grid if I had lots of answers. Now, obviously a yes or no question, I can't add any more answers. So again, I'd love to see that button go away. All right, let's save this question. And now my quiz has 3 questions. What if I wanted to use conditional logic? Well, there's this option here to enable branching. That's conditional logic. Check this on. We'll see how this works in a second. But first, I want to mention that you can rearrange your questions right here. So if I click this rearrange questions button, I can easily just move them around. All right, let's finish up our quiz here, and then I'll show you how the conditional logic works. Once we have our questions all entered, we'll go to lead generation. Remember, this is the opt-in gate. So by default, this looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with what this opt-in gate looks like. I can customize it as much as I want, adding videos or images so that before someone gives you their email address, you can either make them smile or let them know what they're in for by providing their information. I really like that it has HTML form integration here on the lead generation page. So if you're using an email application that is not supported with one of their default integrations, you can simply embed one of your HTML forms. The application here, Smart Quiz Builder, will fill out that form, and you can still have people added to your email list. Another little nice touch that they have is that there's an integration with something called quickemailverification.com. I've never used this service, but essentially what it'll do is verify someone's email is legitimate before they go ahead and accept the results. So that way you prevent people from just entering in gobbledygook into your quizzes, and you don't generate any actual leads. But what about the checkboxes? You need checkboxes if you're going to be GDPR compliant. Well, I think that's up for debate still, but there are the checkboxes right down here where you can force people to agree to your terms and conditions as well as your GDPR notifications. So after our opt-in gate, we're going to go to an outcome page. Outcomes are just like questions in that we can have multiple outcomes depending on how people answered our questions. Let's add a new outcome. And you can see here that I can enter a range of scores that I want to see this actual outcome page. So let's say I want anyone who scored, between 1 and 2 to see this page. And then I can add an additional outcome for people who scored 2 to 4. Maybe the lower scoring page, I can say, you didn't score so well, you better study harder before you take the quiz again. And for the higher scoring page, I can say, congratulations, you passed, something like that. Now, if you don't want to use these outcome pages, maybe you want to send them to a custom page that you've already built out on your website. Of course, you can do that as well. There are some redirects up here where you can go ahead and say, okay, if you are on outcome, let's say outcome 1, I haven't named them here, they can go to a specific page and then you enter that URL in here, and same thing with the other outcome. See, there's 2 outcomes here. Let me just name the outcomes. You'll see what I mean. This is outcome 2. I'll call it high scoring. And for outcome 1, I'll call it low scoring. All right, now if we see the redirect rules, it'll make a little more sense. We've got a low scoring page. We can have them go to a specific page on our website, and our high scoring outcome can also go to a specific page, or we can use the outcome screen that Smart Quiz Builder generates for us. Now you can see that they're using some tokens here, which is great because that means you can reference the actual results of the person who took the quiz's score. So their score versus the actual number of questions. That's really helpful. I wish there were more tokens available. I'd love to see that increase inside of the plugin. As an example, on Ramit's quiz, one of the last questions he asks you is how much you want to earn, right? If I could grab that specific number and insert it into the results page, then I could talk more about, people that earn $34,000 generally have these characteristics. It wouldn't really matter if the information was extremely specific because they're already being grouped together into a range and then given an outcome. So for people in a certain range of income, let's say between $34,000 and $50,000, they might have similar traits. And then I can have another outcome page for people $51,000 to $75,000. I hope you're getting the idea here. It's just all about providing a really custom and unique response when someone fills out a quiz so it doesn't feel so bland and generic. Now, I do love the fact that there are outcome tags. So if someone gets sent to a specific outcome, you can tag them. And then if you're using one of the integrations with, let's say, Aweber or ConvertKit, something like that, those tags can be applied inside of your email marketing application. All right, so that is our quiz. We just have a few things left to do. First, I want to talk about how we can deal with conditional logic. So conditional logic, as we saw back here in the questions section, if I turn this on, it is now available to me. I need to go ahead and save once I check that on. But in order to actually use the conditional logic, it's found over here in the left-hand sidebar, which we really haven't used a whole heck of a lot. I find the placement for this just a little bit obscure in terms of user experience because everything we're building is over here. And these options are kind of generally applying to, looking at leads and creating new quizzes. So I feel like this should probably be bumped into the actual user experience, but that's my feedback on it. So we're in quiz funnels. This is the conditional logic. What I need to do first is to choose the quiz that I want to work on. That is the demo quiz. And I get my questions to show up on the screen here. Again, I can reorganize the questions however I like using the reorganize option inside of the managed quizzes. But you notice that this one right here, this has to be the first question because there's no little dots on this side. So what we're going to do is actually connect the dots to show the flow of the question. So if someone answers true to this, they're going to go to this question next. However, if they answer false, I can have them skip that question and go right over to this question. So then, if our quiz continued, let's say for a multiple choice question, they went over to the next question, so on and so forth. So this way, as the quiz progresses, you can get more and more specific about the interests of your prospect. I love the user interface here. It's super fast and easy to move things around. You'd think maybe it'd be a little glitchy, but it's not. It's really solid and you're able to move things around. Now, I will say that certain questions cannot be connected. So for example, a multiple choice question, let's say I wanted them to go here. I have to send them all to this question because it's multiple choice. They have to go to the same next question. I'm not really sure why that is, honestly. It's only certain types of questions can utilize the quiz funneling options. Another small thing I'd love to see is auto saving. So if I were to click away right now, I would lose all of this progress. In fact, I'm going to do that just to show you. I'm going to click away. There's no option to prompt me, hey, you're going to lose your changes. But if I go back to the quiz funnels here, because I did not click the save button, all of that funneling is now gone. There is a save button, but I'd love to just see at least a reminder, but preferably auto saving so that if I close a browser tab, I don't lose my progress. All right, back inside the quiz here, we just have a few more things to look at. First of all, we've got a shortcode over here so that we can easily copy and paste the shortcode anywhere on our website. But what I think is super cool is that you can actually use the embed code right here so that you can publish it on any website. It's going to give you an iframe. You just copy and paste it and it'll work whether you're using Squarespace or whatever. Okay, finally, we need to go back to the beginning here, which is the display settings. This will determine how the actual quiz is displayed for our end users. So we've got some options here: in-page pop-up or bottom right pop-up. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? Then we've got pagination options. This is if you want to have one question per page, or maybe a more kind of scholarly approach, like you're doing a quiz for an institution. We can have all questions on the same page. Here's the toggle switch for that progress bar like we saw Ramit Sethi use. I really like leaving this on, but for some reason you don't want it, you can turn it off. There's an option for a little fancy slide-in animation here. I don't really care for that personally, but the option is yours. We can have retake quizzes enabled. And as soon as you turn this on, you can also choose how many times people can retake the quiz. So maybe you only want to give them, 2 or 3 retakes. You can do that. Don't like leads? Well, you can turn off the opt-in gate. Lead generation is toggleable right here. You can see if I have it on. You can connect to several different platforms. We already saw that you can do a HTML form. So if you don't see your email platform listed here, there are several and there's more being added quite frequently. But if you don't see the one that you want to use, you can use those HTML forms. The benefit of using an email platform that is supported is, of course, then you're gonna be able to do that tagging based on outcomes, which I think is critical and one of the reasons that you want a tool like this. So as I was saying at the beginning of the video, you can do a lot of this functionality with the form builder, but the problem you're gonna run into is that getting the tags to apply to specific answers is really, really kind of tricky. In some cases, it's just not possible. So whether you're sending people to a different outcome page or you're scoring them, it can be very, very difficult to navigate those features. If you're using one of these email platforms and then being able to tag people based on those outcomes, that is really effective and I highly recommend it. Webhooks are also supported. You can turn this on. You'll be able to see a bit of sample code here. If you're slightly more techie, you'll be able to use this. It's not quite as user-friendly as something like Zapier or Integrately, Pabbly Connect, also all supported. We have some options here for our outcome screen, whether it's calculated on a range or a correct answer. The correct answer display, you can choose whether or not you want to tell people the right answers. That's important, right? If you maybe want to keep your answers secret, you can turn that off, or you can have it on and then show only on the final results page so that people have to opt in before they see the actual answers. If you want to put a little extra pressure on people, you can do a timed quiz here where you can go ahead and enter the timer settings so that people don't have all day to answer your questions, maybe doing some Googling in the background. You can eliminate that by having a time limit. And then finally, we've got the overall style and look of the quiz. So these are the 5 options that are currently available. There are no other choices. You can't add your own template. I'd love to see that as an option in the future, maybe just some more customization options. The templates that they have, I think, are just fine. And honestly, you want to kind of keep something that is, usable and recognizable to your customers. So I don't see a need to have like a ultra wide selection of templates, but maybe just some different layouts would be cool to see. It kind of looks like they're doing that maybe with template 5 over here. It's one of the newer templates they have, and it looks a lot different than the original 4 templates. Of course, all of the colors and the size and the width and all of that is completely customizable inside of the customizer. Over in the settings section over here, you can do things like ask people their first name before they begin the quiz. That'll allow you to customize the rest of the questions with their name in it. You can see they give us a little token here we can use if we want to actually personalize any of the other questions or the results pages. You can also randomize your questions and answers and turn on and off quiz points here. We are nearing the end of this tutorial, but finally, I wanted to show you this social share option. This will allow you to create a Facebook app ID, and that'll give you those nice open graph images and the actual results when people click the share button at the end of your quiz. So you'll do this on a quiz by quiz basis, create an app ID, choose the quiz that you want to connect. You can turn on and off the share button. So if you don't want to have a specific quiz have sharing enabled, you can do that. And then we have the actual text that will be shown on Facebook as well as Twitter. You can see they're using these tokens again with the score out of the total score and then the title of the quiz. This will be your open graph image, or you can upload your own custom image. The share section is customizable as well. So you can change the text here, tell your friends. The only thing you can't do is change these social icons. You can see that these are rectangles. I'd love to have the option for maybe a square or a circle, maybe a little more common selection type. So that's going to do it for Smart Quiz Builder. I think this is a really exciting new application. It does have a little ways to go, in my opinion, just to get the fit and finish where I'd like to see it. I'd also love to see a WP Fusion integration. I think that would open up the doors to a ton more email service compatibility without having the developer having to connect each one manually. I know a lot of people are already using WP Fusion out there, so it makes sense to pair the two together. But overall, I am definitely in on this one in terms of, starting to try it out with clients and see how it does. So that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you think down below. I know a bunch of you already have this tool out there, so give me any thoughts, any feedback about how it's working out for you. A few more things to plug. I do have the Facebook group linked down below. There is the weekly newsletter that goes out totally free. Both of those things are totally free. Go ahead and get signed up so we can get a little bit more connected. Other than that, that's going to do it. I will see you in the next review.